Hello, and welcome to And the Razzie Goes To. I'm Will Papora,
I'm Laura Murley.
and we're going through all the Razzie Worst Picture winners in order, chronologically. And
The worst movie of every year,
yeah, and this
according to the Razzie people.
the committee of Razzie people who I actually don't know who they are.
Neither do I. They're an esteemed secret committee.
Maybe that's one of the goals of this podcast is that we get invited to be on the committee. Just a thought.
We should be, you know.
Yeah.
More people should listen to our opinions.
We're putting in the work. We're watching these movies. And this week we are talking about The Adventures of Ford Fairlane. Not Andrew Dice Clay. Don't be fooled. This is a different character, a totally unique creation.
By Andrew Dice Clay, starring Andrew Dice Clay.
Such a committed actor. He developed a whole new personality for this movie.
And if you can't tell, Will is being sarcastic because this movie is starring Andrew Dice Clay and he's just doing that character. And it's a very unpleasant character that has not aged well at all.
No, and right off the bat, it does a thing where it's like, I don't understand if he's Andrew Dice Clay, he should just be Andrew Dice Clay.
Yes.
Why create this other character?
Because the other name is hard to remember. It doesn't roll off the tongue at all. Like, the one good thing about Andrew Dice Clay is the name is kind of punchy and fun.
Oh, totally, yeah. And Ford Fairlane is not as fun.
No.
It reminds me of the movie that maybe we'll cover one day, Larry the Cable Guy Health Inspector, which I asked, why isn't he just a cable guy? Why is he a health inspector and a cable guy?
I always thought that movie was just called Larry the Cable Guy. I didn't know the health inspector rest of it.
He played a health inspector.
Wow. You
But
don't think of your cable guy as a health inspector.
No, I wouldn't trust that health inspector.
No. Unless it's about the health of your cables. The health of your satellite.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
should we do the recap?
Let's get into it. So, Andrew Dice Clay is a detective, but only for rock stars.
And if you forget that, then this movie has no problem repeating the phrase rock and roll detective like 25 times.
Yes, over and over and over. And he's always like, oh, why am I a rock and roll detective? Why aren't I a fisherman or something else or some other normal kind of detective? And it's like, yeah, why?
Why not just be I hate when people say that because it's like, well, just go be a fisher person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
He acts as if he has to do this, but there's literally no one asking him to. Well, okay, people are coming to him with cases, but he actually doesn't have a problem turning them down. It seems like most people, he makes them beg him to take on their case.
Yeah, and I would be panicking if I was a rock and roll detective because you're limiting your market of
so you would
things.
think anybody that comes to him and is like, okay, I have a gig for you, he'd be like, oh, awesome. But every time someone presents him with a gig, he's like, oh, this again?
Yeah. And he's the rock and roll detective because, and they say this in the movie, he can get into the hottest clubs and everybody thinks he's cool. And this is maybe one of the biggest problems with the movie is this movie wants you to know how cool Andrew Dice Clay is. And it is a humorless character.
Yes.
That wants you to know how cool and like people want to be with him all the time and all this stuff.
Yeah, everywhere that he walks in, a group of blonde girls will flock to him and just be like, oh my God, can I please have sex with you? And he's like, no, I'm busy. And it's like, doing what? And he's like, I don't even know, like looking at walls, like standing around.
Right.
Like he's very rude. He's not witty. He's constantly talking to himself. He'll like always say a little aside whenever somebody is trying to have a conversation with him. Very deeply unpleasant person.
Yeah, and kind of I wish this movie did have a sense of humor about itself because he's an idiot.
Yes.
But they don't know that he's an idiot. The movie doesn't know that he's an idiot. I wish they knew how stupid he was, because that could have been a funny movie where he's so inept as a detective.
If he was like a Johnny Bravo type, where it feels like the writers are in on the joke that he's stupid, but it seems like they want us to feel like he is smart and cool. And so he goes to this bar, and there's this girl group who they have a stalker who wants to rape and murder them. And he's like, I don't care. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't care?
You're a rock and roll detective. This is your business. This is all you should care about.
This is like a big gig for you.
Yeah.
And also, even as a person, you don't care.
Right.
Yeah.
You should care.
And this is like, in a similar way to the Bill Cosby Leonard Part 6 that we covered, all the answers to the cases just kind of fall into his lap.
Yes.
Like, you keep thinking, like, oh, he's the rock and roll detective because he knows all these people and he's really good at getting answers out of people. That's not the case. He actually just is constantly stumbling in front of the answers.
Right, which could be funny if it was like this buffoon keeps stumbling on gold by being a buffoon.
Yeah.
But that's not how they're playing it. It's just lazy writing, just like, they found this by accident.
Yeah, so just at the bar, there's this guy who's obviously extremely creepy.
Yeah.
Who's like staring at them and being weird. And he's like, oh, I guess this is the guy.
This must be the guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So then they show up to his office the next day and they're like, thanks so much for finding that guy. Here's a watch for payment. And he's like, ugh, people giving me a thing again instead of money. And the running joke is apparently all these rock stars don't pay him. They only give him like things. And some Australian group gave him a koala. So there's an animatronic koala who's just like sitting in his office.
Another completely blown opportunity. The koala does not do anything funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not like, there's so many ways that could have been funny, but it's just not.
Yeah.
And he has an assistant. Do you remember what her name was?
I know I forget. I know the actress's name, but I forgot her name. Oh, Jazz.
Jazz.
That's right. Her name was Jazz.
Yeah. So she's like, you do need to find a way to get actual money. And they did say the watch is worth a lot of money. And I'm like, why doesn't he just sell these things that the rock stars are saying are worth a lot of money?
Pawn all the stuff. Yeah. There's like so many things given to him.
And he has that woman working for him. Can't he just tell her to pawn them?
How is he paying her? And how's he paying his rent if he's not getting any money?
He lives in an insane mansion that is always has an active like fog machine going on. Yeah. It's always so smoky that you can barely see what's going on in it. And then he also has a large office space.
I don't know how you're affording all of this.
But he's like, no one's ever given me money. They just give me weird stuff.
Right.
Like watches and koalas. And it's like, okay, I'll give you that the koala might be hard to pawn. Watch, classic thing to pawn.
Yeah, watch can get you some money. Yeah. He also has a good... Well, he didn't want to get rid of this. This is a big plot point. But the guitar by Jimi Hendrix. And he doesn't play guitar. He just has it.
Yeah. He's like, it's specially strung for my left hand, but he never actually plays it.
Yeah. But that could probably give you like...
It could.
$200,000 or something.
So for this girl group, he has the creep there in his office... And he threatens to cut off the guy's penis, but then he doesn't do it. And he just, like, lets him go and is like, next time I'll do that. And they're like, we're so thankful. And it's like, so all you did was threaten this guy? Like, this guy seems, like, deranged. Of course he's going to do something again. You didn't help at all.
He should be in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did not help him get arrested in any way.
No.
No. And then he's got, like, a precocious... small boy who's following him around for some reason.
This was the worst plot point. Like, to make him look like a good guy.
Yes.
Get a kid to follow him around, and he's like, hey, don't smoke. that's bad for you. And you're like, oh, maybe this guy's
good.
not so bad.
He told a 10-year-old not to smoke. What a good guy.
Even though he's smoking in front of him all the time. That's why he's smoking.
Yeah. And the kid's like, hey, my dad's missing. I'll pay you to find my dad. You're a detective. And he's like, I don't want to do that.
So he won't even do that.
Yeah. And he's like, I don't want to take your money. So I was like, okay, well, it makes sense if you don't want to take a kid's money, but you're going to find the dad, right? But he also doesn't agree to find the dad.
Right.
Yeah. And he's like, I got this great clue, though. I have a ring, and apparently my dad has the matching ring. And I was like, this is a terrible clue.
I wonder, I've never known that to happen.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he gets a call from this, like, disc jockey who's, like, a horrible shock jock asshole kind of guy, played by Gilbert Godfrey.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. So he's like, I hate women. Women are disgusting. I want to kill them all.
That's a good Gilbert.
Yeah. And then he plays, like, you know, the 90s disc jockey, like, sounds that are like, oh, wooga, boom,
right.
boom, bum, bum. And he's like, yeah. So he, so Rock and Roll Detective shows up and he's like, hey, since you are the rock and roll detective, or he's rather like, since you are the rock and roll detective, can you find this lady for me? And he's like, it's my slut daughter who, I don't want to do the voice anymore, it's hurting my throat.
Yeah,
but
no,
that
bad,
is the disc jockey guy.
Yeah.
He's like, it's my slut daughter. But like the woman looks around the same age as him.
That didn't line up at all.
Yeah.
It looked like Gilbert was like 35 in this movie.
Yeah.
And she looked like 25 or something.
Yeah, it didn't look like they could be father and daughter.
No.
And he says, like, I don't think that's your daughter. You're lying to me. Just, like, tell me what's going on. And he won't tell him what's going on.
Right.
But he's like, but I do want to, he's like, I'll give you, like, a bunch of actual money.
Yeah.
So he hands him, like, a envelope full of cash. And he's like, no, I don't want to do it. And it's like, dude, you're the rock and roll detective. Like, what are you doing?
And you're always complaining about not having any money.
Yeah, and you're worried that, like, he is being a little bit untruthful. Like, you work with only rock stars. Are they, like, always telling you exact truth? Like, what is your deal here?
I don't understand, yeah.
Yeah. And then he drives back home, and over the radio, he hears an explosion. So he's like, oh, somebody blew that guy up.
Yeah.
That I was just talking to. So he drives back.
Yeah. Security
won't let him up. So he gets around them. And
over the speaker, you can hear him going, help, I'm being electrocuted. Help, help. which, you know, like, it would, the electrocution lasts like 2-3 minutes. And he's like yelling, like, help, help, help.
It lasts a while.
Yeah. Oh, no,
he's having an especially slow electrocution.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So he goes back, and there's a detective who's kind of his rival in this movie, who's like, you're not a real detective, you're just like a fake rock and roll detective, which is true.
It's not wrong. Yeah,
it's not wrong.
Yeah.
He's like, you shouldn't be here, which is true. And Andrew Dice Clay is just like, you're spam. And it's like, what does that even mean?
And then that guy has like a background in disco, I guess. And he starts singing like a disco song that he wrote at one point or something. And at this point, I'm watching, I'm like, I'm embarrassed for everyone involved in the movie. I felt bad for everybody. But, you know, there's also, disco wasn't a thing for about 10 years by the time this movie out. And they have it out for disco in this movie in a weird way where it's like, disco sucks. And it's like, this is 1990. Yeah. It hasn't been around. And there's a moment where he breaks a disco ball over somebody's head, like, oh, like F disco. And it's
I didn't get that that's what that was implying.
Maybe I'm just too sensitive to because I love disco. But I'm like,
they were definitely ripping on the detective for having musical ambitions, though. It was kind of like you're a loser, and that's why you're a detective. but you're not like the cool rock and roll detective.
Yeah, you're like the lame disco detective.
Yeah.
Which actually, that sounds like a
disco
fun movie.
Disco detective sounds a lot cooler than Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all the money's burned, and he's like, oh, well, that's a bummer.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm not even going to get money for this. So he goes home, and Blondie, the singer, shows up, and she's like, hey, rock and roll detective, I've actually got a case for you. And he's like, all right. What? He just like says a bunch of homophobic things, and she doesn't laugh, and he's like, I guess you have no sense of humor.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, no, I don't. I would really like you to find this missing person for me.
Can we get back to business, please?
Yeah, back to business. And she pulls out the same picture of the girl that the radio disc jockey showed him.
Right.
And he was like, huh, something weird's going on here. But I don't know what. I wish I had some skill to help me solve things. Like detective skills of some kind.
And then at that point, I'm like, why are people going to him for these things?
It seems like he can't solve anything.
No.
And she's so intent on making him solve it. And she's like, I heard you're hard up for money. I'll give you a bunch of money. And she takes out a bunch of money. And he's like, ugh, I bet you just want to give me a deposit that's small. So I don't really want to do it. And she's like, no, I'll give you this whole bag of money. And he's like, I guess. And it's like, dude, you have nothing. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, just take it. Take
you
the
have
job.
A koala.
Yes.
And a watch that you didn't bother to pawn. You just like tossed on the desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, bills are coming.
He complains a lot.
He's always complaining.
Yeah.
But not about fun things. Just about like... It's like, okay, so you don't want to be the rock and roll detective. Don't be the rock and roll detective.
Yeah, no one's asking you to be the rock and roll detective.
No, it seems like it's not even like legal for you to be the rock and roll detective, because it's not like you're officially employed by law enforcement. It feels like you're doing kind of a sketchy thing.
Yeah.
So if that's not really your passion, how about do something non-sketchy?
Yeah, and if the whole reason is like, oh, he can get into all the clubs. You know who else can get into all the clubs? The disco detective, because he keeps meeting him at the clubs.
Yes. And you know who else can get into all the clubs? Like pretty much anybody.
A real rock and roll singer, maybe, and you just like say, hey, you want to like, you know, investigate something for me? Like that, even that would be better.
Yeah.
Than asking this guy who's just a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he feels like she's, you know, doing something sketchy, because she won't tell him like who the girl is that she wants to find.
So the one of the big issues with this movie is that it's as complicated, if not more so, than a real detective plot.
Yes.
And it is kind of like hard to follow what's actually happening.
It's very hard to follow.
Yeah, there's a thing where there's like 3 CDs.
Yes.
That they have to find. So they're looking for those CDs.
Right. So I think before that happens, he's out and about doing whatever. Oh no, wait. Okay, the rock star funeral does happen before that, because the girl's with him when the explosion happens, actually.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So he sees a music video with her in it.
Exactly. So he's watching TV. He's watching TV. A heavy metal music video comes on the TV, and in it is the girl that both of them showed him a picture of, and were like, "Can you find this girl?" So he's like, "Oh, that guy died." Oh, and he has this really offensive line before this, where he's talking to the little kid about how this local like heavy metal dude passed away, and the kid's like, "I think somebody murdered him. I think like somebody should look into this, like say a rock and roll detective." And the rock and roll detective just looks at him and is like, I think he's probably just like an overdose who deserved it.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was
oh my God, I missed that part.
Yeah.
What a terrible, that's awful.
Yeah, it was bad. Yeah, I was like, you're the rock and roll detective?
Yeah, everybody around him is saying like, hey, look into this. This is your job.
And he's like, I don't care.
Well, if you don't care about rock and roll or detecting anything, then don't do this.
Yes.
Get out of this business.
Absolutely. So but then when he notices the girl in the music video, he's like, okay, maybe I should go to the concert. Mm-hmm. So he goes to the concert, and like you said before, the whole premise is this guy's so cool, he can, like, get in anywhere, but he actually can't get in. They're like, it's $300. And he's like, okay, I guess I have to pay.
Right.
So for some reason, it is a funeral that they are charging tickets to.
Right.
So he pays the $300 to get in, and he's showing her picture to all these, like, mourning, sad women. And then he shows it to one girl with, like, a black veil over her face. And she's like, are you making a joke? And he's like, no, why? And she lifts the veil, and it's her.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you're the one I'm looking for. So
total coincidence.
Total coincidence.
Yeah.
Just one of many times where he just, like, accidentally finds the next piece of something with no actual, like, thoughtfulness or fun twist of his own doing. So she, like, gets kind of scared and runs. And there's this whole, like, chase scene where then the creepy guy from earlier grabs her and throws her into a car. So then Andrew Dice Clay steals the, like, the funeral car.
The hearse.
What do they call the hearse?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a chase scene with, like, him and the creepy guy with Andrew Dice Clay in the hearse.
And in another bad taste moment, there's a supposed body in the hearse, just not in a coffin, just, like, laid out.
Yes.
And the body's flopping around and, like, goes into the front seat and is, like, moving back. And then at the end of the chase, turns out they're not dead.
Yeah, it turns out it was just a woman who was hooking up with a mortician and just fell asleep and somehow didn't wake up through getting seriously knocked around in the car chase, and then just wakes up at the very end, is not surprised or confused or anything, and she's just like, whoa, you funeral home guys are crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not funny and kind of gross.
No, very creepy, because he's, like, grabbing on her in all kinds of weird ways when he thinks she's a dead body. And so then he does rescue the other girl, the girl who's from the picture. And there's a long-running bit about how the girl in the picture is extremely stupid and annoying. Like, literally everything that she says, he goes, ugh, I hate you. I kind of want to kill you. And it's just like, she's not actually saying anything particularly annoying.
Everything she says, he's like, shut up, or some version of shut up. And it's like, well, why are you like this?
Yeah, he's extremely rude to her. And she's someone who can help him solve something that might be putting him and other people in danger. Yeah. Because he obviously, like, you know, word could be getting out that he's on some kind of case. He doesn't even know what case he's on, but he's on something.
Right.
Yeah.
So then another thing that they just stumble on is they stumble on this person's Hollywood. He comes across some name. Mm-hmm. And then that name is on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Mm-hmm. And they open it, and there's the third CD.
Yes.
Right?
Well, okay, so before that happens, he goes back to his mansion that's full of smoke, always.
Right.
But this time, the girl goes to turn on the TV, and it explodes. And he sees the koala has been hung as well. And he's like, oh, my God, somebody's after me. Who could it be? And then he sees the hat that Blondie was wearing earlier. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's pretty convenient. She just took off her bonnet and left it on the ground. Yeah. And then she's like, the girl's like, something's in the microwave, because there's a countdown in the microwave. And he's like, that must be another bomb. We need to run outside. So they run outside. Huge explosion that looks like practical effects. I was thinking, this must have cost so much money.
I know, yeah.
It's sad how much money this must have cost.
There's too much money in the effects and, like, the chase sequences where it's like, nobody cares about this.
No.
Yeah.
No, because they're not gripping at all.
No.
And then he goes outside, and then his car explodes too.
A lot of explosions.
A lot of explosions. And then the kid's like, hey, have you found my dad? And he's like, no. Yeah. And the kid's like, aw. And he's like, I guess I'll maybe look for him if I stumble upon him. So then when he realizes that it was like Blondie's character, he goes to find her. And she's with these like record executives. And before that, she's throwing a fancy party.
Oh, right, yeah.
So he tells his
Jazz,
his assistant, he's like, get super dressed up. We're going to her fancy party, and I need your help following her around.
Yeah.
There's, so Jazz starts following around Blondie, and Blondie immediately notices that she's following her, and she's like, hey, stop following me. And she's like, oh, sorry. And then Blondie goes, okay, turn around. I'm going to give you what you need. And she turns around and she shoves a computer disk down the back of her dress.
Right.
And then Jazz goes over to tell Andrew Dice Clay what's going on. Andrew Dice Clay has just put a really nasty hors d'oeuvre in his mouth that he's having regrets about. And there's a very disgusting scene where he grabs Jazz to open mouth make out with her and spit the gross hors d'oeuvre into her mouth so that he doesn't have to spit it out. And
why doesn't he just spit it out?
Yes.
I wanna, that's another where they're like trying so desperately for something funny to happen, and it's like, oh, he can't spit. Why can't he spit it out?
Yeah.
He doesn't care what anybody thinks about him this whole movie.
Yes.
Why would he care if someone saw him spit out food?
Yeah, and the whole time he's like, I hate rich people. But it seems like he's pretty rich because he lives in that mansion and he doesn't work.
Right.
And he has like a fancy antique guitar from Jimi Hendrix and is like going to all these big events. And every time someone asks him to work, he says no.
I wish it was more like he hated rich people and he was giving them a hard time and stuff like that, but it's not really, it doesn't amount to that.
It's not in a good way. It's not for the right reasons.
No, yeah. And he doesn't really do anything.
No. He's definitely not like the common man.
No.
No.
No, it looks like he's always wearing new clothes and things like that. So
yeah. And then, so Jazz pulls him aside and is like, look in my dress. And he's like, oh yeah. But somehow he figures out exactly what she means, even though just saying that doesn't really make sense.
No.
And he immediately goes to where the disc is and pulls it out. And they know, like, okay, something's going on with this disc because she gave it to us. And then the other girl that they were looking for has another disc, and they're like, okay, something about this, they go together. They don't make a lot of sense when you just listen to them alone, but they must go together in some way. So they go back to where Blondie is again. She's in this like business meeting, and this powerful exec is there, and Andrew Dice Clay confronts them and is like, hey, this Blondie lady is in on some bad scheme. I know because there's discs that I don't really understand, but something's going on with them. And the record exec takes out a gun and just shoots Blondie to death.
Yeah.
And as she's dying, she says the name of this guy. It's like something with an A. It's like,
yeah. I got to admit, this one part did make me laugh.
What?
When she's like saying A, and he goes, artichoke? I thought that was actually a good joke.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah. He couldn't figure out what the name was.
Yeah.
But it was like, it was an A
it's
name.
It's like Axe Mooney or something like that.
Yeah, right. Exactly, yeah.
So he's like, oh, I got it wrong. I guess Blondie's not exactly the villain. I guess this other guy's the villain. So they run and they escape. And as they're running down the Hollywood Walk of Fame, the annoying girl's like, hey, isn't that the name that she just said? Axe Mooney. So he looks down at the star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame has that same name.
Yeah.
So he picks up part of the star, and in it is another disc. So now they have the third disc, and they bring it back to his office, and it shows all these secrets of the record company, that they're doing all kinds of crimes that they don't make super clear to the audience. Mm-hmm. They just tell us it's bad.
Right.
This guy's real messed up. He's doing bad things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's another rock star that they're supposed to like premiere soon, who's supposed to be like the next big thing. And Andrew Dice Clay heard him earlier, and he thinks his music sucks. And he finds out in these records that during that guy's gonna premiere, and they're gonna kill him for some convoluted reason I didn't understand.
Is this when he goes to the recording session with that guy?
That is the guy from the recording session, and he's just like, oh, he sucks, I don't like him.
And then in one of the most embarrassing moments of this movie, he goes, let me show you how it's done. Mm. And he goes into the studio and starts singing.
And it's bad.
It is like one of the lamest.
It doesn't sound good at all.
It's like some sort of like, who's that guy? Brian Setzer, like swing thing, and it's like, come on, we're gonna rock, we're gonna rock,
it's
rock.
I love ladies and I love boobs, and I love when ladies have boobs. Preferably two of them, but they can be more or less. Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah, fast cars.
Yeah, car vroom.
Yeah, and
vroom,
I was like,
vroom. Yeah,
and I'm looking like, did he think this was good?
Yeah, and no one even in the movie thinks it's good. They're all just like, okay.
But the band,
they're not like, we got to give this guy a deal.
Yeah, and the band miraculously knows how to play whatever the song
what
is.
He's singing, yeah.
And the backup singers pick up everything that he's laying down.
Yeah.
And it's like, is this guy frustrated that he wants to be a rock and roll thing, like a rock and roll singer?
I was confused about too, because when they kept calling him the rock and roll detective in the beginning of the movie, I had assumed that meant that he was a rock star who was a part-time detective. But that's not the case. It's just that he solves crimes related to the music industry.
Now that is a better movie. You have a person moonlighting as a rock singer, but as a detective on the sly. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Because then you could actually get into the spaces.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like he can actually get in anywhere cool, because he doesn't go anywhere cool. And he's like stopped by security when he goes to that disc jockey recording place. Mm-hmm. He's stopped when he tries to go into the funeral. Like, the only place he just gets into is this random bar. And also, there's a random scene where he just walks into a sorority. And they're like all over him, and they're like rubbing him and touching him in a weird way. And he's like, yeah, this is making me feel good.
Creepy, out of nowhere scene that was just
really served no purpose at all.
He's also like, in terms of like, everybody thinks he's so cool. He looks like a greaser from the 50s.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like a modern rock guy.
No.
So it'd be funny if it were a joke, like, oh, this guy's lame. Johnny Bravo's a great example. Yeah, that really is, like, if he was like Johnny Bravo, like from a time capsule 30 years ago, and everybody's looking at him like he's a joke, but he thinks he's like a rock god.
Yeah.
That would have been funny, but
it would have been, yeah. So then he's like, okay, I got to go to this guy's big concert and stop this evil plan from happening. So he goes to the concert, and he's like, he pulls the guy aside and is like, hey, we found the CDs that together show your evil plan, and you don't really care about the music. And he's like, that's right, I don't really care about the music industry at all. I'm just in it for money. And this guy actually sucks at making music, and I'm going to murder him later. And it turns out that Andrew Dice Clay has a microphone, and he's projecting what this guy's saying over. Yeah, classic. And this kind of did make me laugh. the singer who's waiting to perform, just like a single tear comes down his face when he hears that like they didn't actually think he was a good singer. He's like, oh,
they were gonna murder him.
Yeah.
A single tear.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I was like, I mean, that was really mean to do to that guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That is mean.
But like the whole crowd is like, boo, we hate when you don't like music and you do like murder. That's not what we like. And then there's this big chase scene at the end where the creepy guy from before is trying to kill Andrew Dice Clay, and he sees that he has the ring that matches the little kid's ring. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, I can't kill you because you're that dad's you're this kid I know's dad. And he's like, what are you talking about? I don't have any kids. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, where'd you get that ring then? And he goes, some guy I strangled a few months ago.
Oh my God.
So then Andrew Dice Clay just kills him and he takes the ring.
Right.
He goes to the beach and the kid comes up to him again and is like, hey, did you ever find my dad? And Andrew Dice Clay goes, yeah, it's me. And he's wearing the ring. And I was like, that's actually kind of a nice moment. But then the kid's like, no way. And Andrew Dice Clay goes, right, that's not true. He is dead, but he wants me to take care of you. And the kid's like, I guess that's okay.
My question is, what's this kid been doing?
Yes.
Where's he living?
Mm-hmm.
He's not living with Dice.
I assumed his mom was still alive, but maybe that's not true. I don't know.
I mean, it's at the end, it looks like Dice adopts him.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering where is he? Where is he? Where is he? I don't know. They put this kid in the movie just to like oh, we need a kid to make Dice look good. To humanize him a little,
but it doesn't really.
No, it's
he seems very uninvested in this kid.
No, he treats him terribly.
Yes.
And then there's also this lame love story with the assistant.
Yeah, the assistant shows up on the beach and he's like, hey, I decided, now that I have this random kid, I also need a wife to go with it. And so I think we should be together. And he kisses her. And she's like, hey, this is weird. Like, what's going on here? You love like having fun and all these women and stuff like that. And he's like, I decided I don't want to have fun anymore. I just want you. And I think it's supposed to be like, a little silly, but also kind of romantic, but it's just not at all.
I thought like, oh, that sounds like a joke. Mm-hmm. And it sounded like they were trying to be serious. Like he doesn't want to have fun anymore. He wants to settle down. Yeah.
And then she's like, wow, awesome.
Amazing. And they all walk off into the sunset. Mm-hmm. And that's the movie.
That's it.
Yeah, this is a problem.
Yeah, like the movie is just, there's so many needlessly offensive lines. It's like almost everything he says is either offensive for the sake of being offensive. It's the type of humor where it's just like, isn't it funny that we're saying something that we shouldn't say? Or it's like just so dumb, but like not in a fun way.
There was another line I wrote down. He shoots he has a gun, and there's a lot of shooting in this movie. And I don't know, like, guns in comedies, sometimes I guess, but sometimes it's just like, this is abrasive and weird and violent. And it is a very violent movie too. It's just like needlessly violent.
And there's never any consequences for the violence. Like there are a group of police in this movie that are on the trail of this as well, but there's never like a head-to-head. Like there's a couple points where I was like, surely Andrew Dice Clay is gonna get arrested for involving himself in this and obstructing justice and like also harming people, but he doesn't.
No, he shoots somebody, or he shoots like the chandelier or something. He shoots a gun and he looks at someone and he goes, Clint Eastwood, I fucked him. Remember that?
I remember that now, and I was like, what? Did he mean something different than what it sounds like it means? Because he's very homophobic in this movie.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was actually an admission of like having sex with Clint Eastwood, right?
It would have been like, that's what made me wish like this movie wasn't so sexist and homophobic if he was just like a big buffoon. Because if he was like, I don't know, sexually fluid or what, and that's why he said that.
If he was a bi icon.
Yeah, or something. I mean, like, just
I fucked
like,
Clint Eastwood, and that gave me his powers.
Yeah, something like that. But he has a line like that, but then it just goes into homophobia and misogyny, and it's not played. I don't know. It's not played as satire. It's played as like actually being encompassing this thing.
Yeah, like the line that makes him say that Blondie's character is completely humorless is he's just like saying, he says that he hangs out with gay people, and he goes, and then I also hang out with trans testicles. And she just stares at him, and it's like, yeah, because what are you talking about?
Yeah, and it's just like it's a lame, horrible thing to say. And yeah, it's just so mean-spirited, the humor of it, and it's just so ugly to the point of it's not fun to watch this guy go on an adventure.
He's just very like it's one thing to watch a womanizer character who seems to genuinely at least like women and like seducing women, but he doesn't do anything in this movie that's ever even like mildly seductive to women. It's just women walk up to him and throw themselves at him, and he acts rude and abrasive and sometimes even abusive towards them the entire movie.
Yeah, as you're saying that, it's like, it reminds me of a better example of what this could have been is Austin Powers.
Yes.
Who is sex positive. The character is sex positive. He's not demeaning, or he's not.
Yeah. He's like horny all the time, but in a silly way. And he's not like trying to treat people like objects.
Yeah, and he's not yelling at them or telling them to shut up and stuff like that. So he's just, I think like one of the crucial problems with this movie is the actor himself takes himself way too seriously, doesn't have a sense of humor, doesn't really want to be seen as a comic, wants to be seen as an action star who's kind of funny, like a Bruce Willis, and it just doesn't work whatsoever. He's not, he doesn't come off as funny, and he's a terrible action star.
Yeah, the action sequences in this are so boring and hard to follow, but looked like they did cost a lot of money, as we said. And, he's just so completely uncharismatic. There's just, like, not an ounce of, like, interest that he brings to this performance.
No, and, he doesn't... He doesn't even seem super enthusiastic. He doesn't seem to be bringing his A game even to the show or something. And I think he was relying a lot on the budget. And I looked up the director of this. The director of this was like the guy who did Die Hard 2 and Cliffhanger. Total action person, not at all a comedy person. And if you were going to make a big budget comedy movie, wouldn't you get somebody who's inept at that or who is capable of comedy?
Well, who wrote it? Was the writer a comedy person?
I think there was a few writers, and I think, but it was based on like an actual hard-boiled detective novel or something that was in development for a long time. So that's also a bad idea to put him at the center of this somewhat serious thing and like try to incorporate his humor into it. But I liked your idea of the rock star who is a detective.
Yeah, I think that would have been a lot more fun. And it also would have been a lot more fun if he was genuinely interested in solving the cases.
Yes.
It felt like it just made the movie drag so much that every time someone brought him another clue, he was like, I don't care. I'm busy. And it's like, okay, well, if he's busy, like, at least give him something else to do or another goal, but he's not even busy with anything.
Yeah. And if he doesn't care, why should we care?
Yeah.
So it would have, like, this is just like a basic plot device, but if it's like, if the rock star who died in the beginning was a good friend of his.
Yes.
And if the woman who went missing was somebody, because he's friends with that DJ, maybe he knew her since she was a kid, and maybe he's like protective over her and he's actually invested. He doesn't care about the rock star. He doesn't care about the woman who got kidnapped. He doesn't really care about his friend, the DJ who got electrocuted.
No, right before his friend dies, he's like, I never really liked that guy anyway. He wasn't really my friend.
It almost makes me feel like they wrote this character into a sociopath. Like, he doesn't care about anybody or anything.
No.
And
but then the final scene is him, his assistant, and the koala bear on a yacht. Because they get a phone call that he won a sweepstakes that he entered that's like related to some radio station for an all expenses paid vacation. And he's like, wow, this was a competition from a radio station. I love the music industry now again. And so, yeah, the koala bear is alive again. And he looks right at the camera and is like, see, I bet you thought we killed the koala, but we didn't. We're not, as if to say, like, we're not that bad. And the koala's wearing a little neck brace.
Yeah.
But it's like, that doesn't track at all because the koala was hung in a building that was blown up.
Yeah, I also didn't really like the koala. Like,
no.
The koala didn't do anything funny, and it kind of felt like it wasn't even really part of the movie.
No, it felt like it was very neglected, and it was sad. And I was glad that it was at least an animatronic and not a real animal, because I feel like there wouldn't be like it. A lot of times in movies, like with the real animals, they're like mistreated. So it was kind of nice that it wasn't a real animal. But since it was an animatronic, it did look very bad, and it didn't look lifelike enough to make you really invested.
Yeah. I feel like there's a huge missed opportunity in the sense of making this character somewhat sweet.
Yeah, I think it could have been cool if he at least really cared about the koala.
Yeah, or why not just make him likable, because he could still do those things, like certain things, like in a way like Austin Powers or Ace Ventura or other, people like that, where they're being stupid, but they're not being mean.
Yes.
This guy's a bully.
Yeah, he's so mean to everyone around him, but he has nothing to back up his ego.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any skills. He's not a good musician. He's not a good detective. He's not good looking. He's not smart. Like, there's just nothing there.
Yeah, they try to do like fist fight action sequences with him, and they look bad and clumsy, but they're trying to communicate, oh, this guy's great at fighting. He's a real badass. And I'm like, just looking at it, like feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I pretty much hit on everything that I think I might change, because there's a bunch of different directions you could take this and that would be fun. Yeah, or even if they had made it, if they had upped his buffoonery to where he was like even more of like a stereotypically like, hey, I guess Johnny Bravo is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I think you nailed it with Johnny Bravo. I mean, if they did like, and Johnny Bravo, I guess, came out 7 years later, 10 years later or something like that. But if they did that version of Johnny Bravo, where he's just like striking out, like all the women in the movie just like don't like him at all.
Yeah.
And like he's smoking in the place and like, you can't smoke in here.
Yeah, and it would have been like, so much funnier if he kept trying to do the cases and he's like, yeah, I'm the rock star detective. And they're like, we don't want your help with this. You don't know anything.
You're terrible at this.
You're terrible at this. And then he accidentally solved it. That would be way funnier.
Way funnier.
Than he sucks and everyone's just begging him to do something for some reason.
Yeah. I also, with the Austin Powers thing, he's like a man out of time because he's 60s brought into the 90s. This guy's 50s going into the 90s. And I think like there should have been an explanation like, why are you dressed like it's 1955? Why are you a greaser?
Yeah.
And I know that's like his character in stand-up, but they could have had some explanation of like maybe his whole house was in 50s regalia. Maybe he's just like he loved the 50s or something. Like there was something about him that's so lame that it's lovable.
Yeah. It would be funny if he was going up to women like, hey, you want to get a soda pop and a sundae?
Right. Yeah, maybe he's at the bar and he like orders a malt shake or something like that, or he does that song, like the swing rock song, and people are like, what the hell are you doing? Like they're like so confused by it.
Yeah, that would be funny too.
Instead he's like walking out of that record like, I nailed that, and everybody's like, whoa.
Yeah. And he's just like even to the male characters he's also so mean. Like that rock star, he's just like, he's fine that he doesn't care that he died. And then the new rock star that they're gonna premiere, he doesn't really seem worried that they're gonna kill him, and he doesn't seem upset at all about humiliating him in front of everyone.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, was like not necessary to do. In the confession, he didn't have to project over to the whole stadium that like this guy actually sucks at music.
Right. He
could have just been like gotten him to admit to all the crimes that he did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that this is 1990, so a couple of years later Nirvana's like peaking, which is I think the music that he was trying to take on in that little satirization or whatever, and his career plummeted.
Yeah. I mean, he had a very limited bit.
Yeah.
That only worked for a very tiny point in time.
Which was disturbing with the stadium aspect to it when he's like performing at Madison Square Garden.
So we're talking about Andrew Dice Clay in real life.
Yeah.
Around this time was very famous for stand-up. And his whole thing is he would just say really offensive things about women and gay people, but in this like super heightened macho voice. And then he would also just do like random like old poems and stuff in that style. Like he'd be like, Little Miss Muffet sat on her toffet. And he was so famous that at one point he filled up Madison Square Garden and people are saying Little Miss Muffet with him. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the bigger that act becomes, and it's the same with this movie with a big budget attached to it, it just seems like super, like it just seems like hate mongering.
Yeah.
As opposed to like a dumb club comic in a small club.
Yeah, totally. It's one thing if your personality is like super, super heightened, like hateful guy, but you don't have a lot of power.
Right.
But when you're like, when you're selling out Madison Square Garden, it feels like a rally for the wrong reasons.
Absolutely. Yeah. So did this deserve the Razzie?
Oh, yeah. It's so hard, though, to say, like, if it deserved it more or less than the movie that it tied with.
Yeah. Ghost Can't Do It.
Ghost Can't Do It. Because they were both so bad in similar ways in that they were both very misogynistic, but in very different, like, approaches to, I guess, that misogyny. Like, in Ghost Can't Do It, pretty much the only female character is just like extremely childlike. She's super, super sexualized, and doesn't really have any agency or voice or anything. And the women in this movie are also very sexualized and they don't have any voice, but they also just like don't have any personality at all. Mm-hmm. They're just like completely blank slates that are just really into Andrew Dice Clay for no apparent reason. Except the one girl that he really hates, but he has to save. Her only character traits are that she likes her purse and chewing gum. And that she's chewing gum is seen as like the worst thing anyone could ever do.
Yeah, why are you chewing gum?
Yeah.
Yeah, the purse thing. They're like running away from gunfire at one point, and she goes, "Oh, I forgot my purse. We have to go back."
Yeah.
And I was like,
and it's like no one would do that.
No one would do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this was a very justifiable tie for the two movies, and I'm glad that they both got awarded it. And I think that's it for us on both of these people. John Derek and Andrew Dice Clay. I think that's going to be it.
Yeah, thankfully, their careers are not current. They're not currently important.
No, yeah. They didn't go on to continued box office success. Like,
no, thank God.
So that's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a time.
What a time. We're now in the 90s. Different time.
Different than the 80s. Although the early 90s, the films feel pretty similar to the 80s movies that we've watched. But I think as it goes on, we're going to see some more stark differences.
Yeah. We're still kind of in Reagan's America. First Bush is in office. But soon it'll be, I guess.
Do you think Ronald Reagan would have liked Andrew Dice Clay?
That's a great question. He liked a lot of the movies we saw. He loved Inchin and Rambo. So he might have liked this guy too. I mean, he might have thought like, he's onto something.
He's cool. Now that's a cool guy.
Now that's comedy.
All right. Well, on that note, please like and subscribe. Or do something. Do anything to support us. We could use anything.
Rate and review. Thumbs up it.
Yeah. Think positive thoughts about us. Manifest for us.
And we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.